shoes, as if he has stepped in something unpleasant. For an instant he's a puzzled tan flamingo. And then he is Irving again, but he doesn't look her in the eye. What? A death? He'd have spoken by now if it were, and no one's been ill. There's evasion in his manner, but not the air of drowning. That half-embarrassed staring at his shoe. It's more than a small gambling debt. A girl in trouble? Which would be dreadful, of course, more than a little shocking, but not out of character. "Have some coffee," Sadie says. And now he glances at her. Still the puzzled look. Crosses the thick grass, wipes his shoes on the front mat, and follows her voice through the hall to the dining room. She seats him at the head of the table, makes a ritual of pouring the coffee, stirring in the sugar and cream. He could be like this when he was a boy, couldn't he? Quiet, half elsewhere, until he'd had his breakfast, though at her table he fidgets, toying with his spoon until she sits down next to him. "Haven't seen Goldie, have you?" he says. Goldie, their oldest sister. Goldie, who lives with him, with their father and the others. Goldie? Hasn't been home for a while. 3 days, actually. What do you mean? She went out. To shop, I think, or Celia thinks. She had a shopping bag with her, Celia said. But Celia doesn't know. No, Celia doesn't. But she thinks Goldie went shopping. Went shopping and didn't come back. 3 days ago. Well, 2 or 3 days. 3 days ago was Sunday. Where does she shop on Sunday? She's never shopped on Sunday. She went somewhere then. Maybe. And here Irving hesitates. Maybe to the falls. And didn't come back, Sadie says. No. She often does go to the falls, Sadie says. Often has. She pours more coffee and focuses on the burgundy rings edging the saucers, the lips of the cups. 1 teaspoon of sugar for Irving. Did she go to the falls alone, or go shopping alone, whatever it is she did? He shrugs. No one called, no one came by for her. He fiddles with the unlit cigar. I was out, I wasn't there. For 3 days you were out? More or less, he says. Asleep when I was there. But you must have noticed. Goldie harps, he says. I avoid her. Other members of the family are prone to disappearing, usually in absurd ways. Celia's age means nothing. She's 27, but impulsive. And she turns up on docked streetcars and in speakeasies and sometimes at barber shops after following men. When Irving disappears, he returns whiskey-soaked. But Goldie's smart, the oldest, the responsible one, thank God uncrazy. She does not disappear. Maybe she told Celia she'd visit a friend and Celia forgot. Or Celia changed the story, blending it with other stories, as is her habit. And anyway, what does shopping mean? On a Sunday in a city bursting with Catholics, Lutherans, Episcopalians, a city bound to Sunday as the Lord's Day. True, Goldie might have gone to a Jewish shop or to the bakery. Celia could mean bakery by shopping. Sometimes you have to unravel Celia's code. Last year she called Goldie's piano lessons harbor walks. Sadie hesitates. The crisis has begun, and will be with them now. But she can stir the sugar in slowly. She can wait and drink coffee and slowly dress, and then the control of speed will end. All control will end. She'll have to give over to this thing, this disappearance and its ripple effects, to the strangeness of her other sisters, to her father's strong will or denial, you never know which it will be, to Irving wandering and returning with rumor and inebriation. Give over and do what must be done. Do not speculate. So she delays. The two of them, Sadie and Irving, sit leisurely over coffee, suspend the moment, as if nothing is happening and someone else is actually in charge. July. There's a brief ease that feels lifted from childhood when she and Irving seemed a family within the family, a relaxed, affectionate little clan apart from their older sisters. Yet even as Sadie recognizes the sensation, it fades, and she offers him jam and toast, the newspaper to read while she dresses for the day. Alone in her bedroom, she senses that the morning has already become brittle and opaque, as if coated with burned milk. There's a bright, fast ribbon of glee at the thought of canceling dinner with her mother-in-law. Then the brittleness again. It's a couple of miles to the family house on Lancaster, far enough to be another neighborhood, another set of shops and parks and schools, if not a distinctly separate life. But often, returning to Lancaster causes time to slip, and she needs to be mindful. She needs the linen dress and gold clip earrings, the lipstick and heels, and whatever else she can summon. From the outside, the Lancaster house is disarming, a solid, well-kept wood frame, off-white, surrounded by clipped green lawn and old elms. The shade of maples and oaks and the clean-swept front porch suggesting restful lives. Today the house is quiet. The foyer, the hallway, and front parlor slightly disordered, but only that. The smell of burnt coffee wafts in from the kitchen. The house is alive with the smell. Her sisters always seem to drink coffee burnt, as if there is no other way. As Sadie passes the shaded dining room, the dark woodwork and table and cabinets hushing the place into a season other than summer, Irving hangs behind her, and it seems, is she imagining this, that she might turn and find herself alone. "Where are they?" she says. Irving's examining his wingtips again. "The store. Papa's at the store." She pictures her father, impeccable in a wheat-brown suit, his dark shoes and spectacles and pale forehead shining in the heat, salt-and-pepper mustache exactingly trimmed, checking velvet-lined jewelry cases for dust, squinting at smudges on the glass. For how long? "He expects me there later." He opened for the day? But her father has done as much at other times, worse times, leaving a pale gray blur in his place. From the parlor there's a glint of orange which travels in Sadie's direction. Celia's cat, slinking through the hall, now sniffing at Sadie's pumps. "And Joe? What happened to Joe?" Irving doesn't answer. The orange cat presses against Sadie, rubbing itself across her shin, turning, rubbing itself the other way. This is distracting. A tingling runs up Sadie's leg to the rest of her, pleasant and more pleasant, and then unnerving, that strong tingling and the cat rubbing itself and loudly purring. From the kitchen there's a clinking sound and the plash of water pouring into water. "Celia," Sadie calls. She makes her way past the closets to the back stairwell in the kitchen, the cat closely escorting her. There are white daisies in a water glass on the enamel tabletop, squares of light through thick-paned windows, a trail of garden soil along the floor to the back entry in the porch. Celia's at the sink, scrubbing a saucepan, flecks of oatmeal sticking to her wrists. Her face is a clear white oval, eyes hazel and unrevealing, her dress pink cotton, unfamiliar, oddly girlish. Today, she's combed her hair. "Joe's at work," Celia says. "When did she leave?" Sadie says. "The usual time." Both of them, then. Joe off to her secretarial job, their father to the jewelry store, as if nothing is wrong, and Goldie will reappear any moment, ready to look after the house and check in with Celia. It's tempting, she admits, to take their behavior as reassurance and assume that Irving has misread the signs. But she knows better. This is not the sort of thing Irving misreads. "Let's sort this out," Sadie says. "Let's sit down and sort this out." Celia drops